Hey yo, what's up? You know what it is? It's the one and only Professor L live in the where? The LAB. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks on. So please come on in, get your seats together, make sure you got your lab coats ready, make sure you're nice and sterile for our experiment, and don't touch nothing that you can't replace, cause yo, we in the building and we are on the board with Kamen Rider Build episode number 6, Moonsault of Anger. Now, this is going to be a little different because I think in order to make my point, we just going to have to just jump around the episode because there are a couple of things that I want to touch on, get into because of what the show is put in play. The most important thing is the morality of this episode and in general the first 6 episodes of this show. Is because it's true what they say. You are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by how you deal with what happens to you. And now a lot of this episode was that lesson put on shining display because this started at the end of our last episode. Ryuga's actions created this moral dilemma of, is it going to be me or is it going to be everybody else? And in that moment, Ryuga chose himself, and it isn't the first time that he's chosen himself. Initially, he went to go save Nabashima because I want to be proven innocent because I didn't do anything, that I'm the victim, and nothing is wrong with that. But it just shows that at this very moment, right now in this show, that is where Ryuga's head is. It's like between all this stuff that has happened to him, from the experiments to losing his gal to being thrown into the mix of all this crazy nonsense, it will put you in an instance where morality is off the table. It's every man for theyself. I gotta take care of me, and that's what's good. And that's what we started our episode with, where Ryuga's head was. Is that I gotta do me. Is that it just saying, it's like, cause I could kind of feel him. It's like you got Kiryu over here like, I want to be Build because being Build is the right thing to do for everybody. Even though that last episode introduced a mirror into who he used to be, is that when faced with that same moral dilemma, Kiryu became Kamen Rider Build. And that moral dilemma of who I was versus who it is I am and who it is I want to be in this current moment was also put into play because Shinjiro said it. Is that what it is so we should just sat up here and said, look, I understand, like, you know what your beef is, why you feel the way you feel and all that, and I get that. But think about it from Kiryu's end. Think about it from that side of the fence, right? You have an amnesiac who has, in this new life that he's been given, that he's been able to rewrite everything because he's a blank slate. He decides to become a hero. So what happened to me doesn't happen to anybody else. And for the things that happened to me, that happened to other people, I want to be the hero that sets things right. That lesson comes later into play when him and Bloodstalk, or finally, after they go in and find a lab and all that, Shinto is now presented with that same exact moral dilemma. Is you now have evidence in a mirror into who you used to be. Bloodstalk is now giving you what the real is. You nothing but an experiment, homie. You nothing but formulas on a piece of paper. That you and the homie, y'all special. We gave y'all the hookup gas and ain't nothing happened to y'all. So y'all outliers to this experiment where we created other Smash and you've done this and you've done that. But in the grand scheme of things, you ain't nothing. Remember who you are in this very moment, because you are nothing, you are nobody but an experiment number, some notes on the page. Even that. Of course, all of this information that comes flooding in to Sento's head makes him go nuts on Bloodstalk, and he goes dumpster on him. Sits up here, runs at him, rabbit tank, and goes in and sits up here and puts in the body blows, put in this work. Of course, at the end of that, Bloodstalk got the best of them, because it's like, even though you done sat up here, you done this, nothing's changed about your situation in any way, shape, or form. You're still the experiment. You are nothing but formulas, notes on the page, at best. So remember that the next time you see me. Remember who it is, because I'm going to be the walking reminder of who you probably can never be again, and someone you can never be now in your current state. Hold this L, peace out. It is then after that moment that Ryuga has, I don't want to say a change of heart, as much as I want to say of understanding the moral dilemma, because I really think that up until that point, Ryuga had some idea of the moral dilemma that Sento faces, but it wasn't until it's right here in your face, do it now, that you really understand and learn where it is on the line where you stand. And he had to sit up here, pull a homie to the side and remind him, like, remember when you told me if it was going to be you or if it was going to be them, as you were going to defend him as Kamen Rider Build? You ain't hesitate to say, I'm going to be the hero. Now look at you. It's that you get a peek into the mirror. You get a peek into who you are, what you could have been, what you can possibly be, and what if and how, and you snap at it. So, are you really what you say you are? Are you really going to be who it is, again, that you say you are? You want to be this hero? You want to be the shining beacon in this darkness that currently surrounds your immediate world? What is your choice? Of course, you snap out of it, puts in the work, but the damage has been done, because the rest of the backdrop of our episode doesn't really contribute as much to the moral dilemma that our characters face versus what's going on in the background. Because we got Gentoku on the phone sitting up here talking about, yeah, man, I showed him the work, cause like, yo, I don't know what you want me to do, man. Yo, just keep doing it, my dude. Just keep doing it, man. Like, yo, I'ma get him. We find out later that Gentoku was talking to Bloodstalk. So I'm not sitting up here trying to figure out, like, is he really Night Rogue at this point? Because I want to know. Like, is he for real? Is he Night Rogue? Because we know cause see, at least the show now took off the table. He ain't Bloodstalk, because I never thought he would. Because a dude like him is either this show op and you running it with Gray Squad as a front, or you really Night Rogue. Either one brings interesting plot possibilities. Because see, I remember when Gentoku was on the phone earlier, you could have told me he was talking to OG Soichi and I'd have believed you, because that's who I thought he was talking to. That it's not like that. What it is that you would think, and it's like, cause you know what, back that up a little bit. Here was my mind state when that conversation happened. That you got OG Soichi just trying to inch him along, trying to inch Sento along to be who it is that he wants to be, because Gentoku said it. He said up here like, yo, you really think homeboy can surpass you? So it brings up the question, whose experiment is this? Just like it's who lined it anyway, it's the hoedown. Whose experiment is this? Because We learn through all of our moral dilemmas. So from Ryuga and what he did to Tatsuya, where is Sento's headspace and everything in between. All of this is a giant game to somebody, because there's one thing for you to call what this is a controlled experiment. There's another thing when you analyze it as someone watching the show of what it is. This is someone's sick game, because we got bodies dropping, we got people losing their memories in the net, their families. We have people who are walking around with these moral dilemmas of who am I, what am I supposed to be, how am I supposed to be, why I am, and all this old stuff. But to you, this is a giant experiment. No, this is a game. All games have ends. That's why they call them end games. So what is the immediate end game for Sento, Ryuga? What is the end game for them? Because again, another thing that happened was Ryuga tried to put on the Bill driver. It didn't go so well because he said, yo, this ain't a one-size-fit-all thing. But we finally saw the claws dragon, so we getting one step closer for Ryuga to become Kamen Rider on claws and stuff like that. So, we got that in the mix. It's like there is a whole lot going on. And I gotta say, because again, and I have to comment on this stuff, I love that even within all this moral dilemma and these game plan, that Sawa and my girl swimming pools were able to have a little funny moment about, are you in love? Who your boyfriend is? Who he at? Who you like? You like Santo? Or you like Ryuga? Huh? No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Love. And then Santo walk in like, yo, I found it, man. I love it. She sits up and like, oh. I'm like, that hot sauce bit was funny as hell. I'm like, I can't even stunt. It's like, I love that this show can go from smart to dumb, back to smart, and then insert some more dumb. I'm like, again, it's like, I'm like, every time the show does it well and does it correctly, I can do nothing. And I mean nothing but appreciate this show for what it is. Just being a great tokusatsu to watch every week. But let's get to the point, yo. I done sat here for a little while and I discussed a lot. But what I want to do before we get up out of here is I want to try to put this episode into some cohesion, because the show legitimately has an aim. But what is it? Again, we talked about it earlier. Right now, Sento, Ryuga, and the rest of the Bill squad, you got Gintoku from the Gray Squad, you got Bloodstalk, you got Night Rogue, who he may be, and everybody else they sit up for turning into Smash, is that blow up one lab, yo, we got 5. Like, yo, blowing up Peter the Skywalker, it ain't nothing. That's prep time, that's being prepared, because you knew it was gonna happen. It's like, yo, y'all sit up here and y'all give Sento this stuff about the Skywall. Why? You knew he was coming. You sat there and was like, hey, whatever. You just an experiment in the game. I'm like, yo, we gonna see how much you step up. Because you really have to sit up here and in that you have to wonder, even if this is a sick game that's being played, who is in control of said sick game? You have to ask those questions. You have to legitimately wonder, because again, it could be anybody. I don't think Mr. Gray Squad Gintoku, I don't think that's that guy. I don't think Noriaki, I don't know if he is Bloodstalk. You have to legitimately wonder. It's like, it's either, if he is Bloodstalk, he one hell of an actor. Because every time Gintoku say, let Sento do something, he right there to be like, hey, yo, boss, I don't know if we should do that, boss. Man, just do it. Okay, boss. The plane, boss. The plane. And that is that weird back and forth between those two characters. So you really have to wonder, if Noriaki is Bloodstalk, if he is Night Rogue, if he in the mix somehow, He's one hell of a good actor to put on that type of front to sit up here and be, I don't want you to have nothing, but that's just to make sure that when people watch the show or or in character, that you can't see me for who I am. If I am something, that you won't be able to see it even if I show you. Call me John Cena. Apple do, motherfucker. Yo, those are the things you have to think about in analyzation of wondering, like, whose sick game is this? And if this is a sick game, like I said earlier, what is the end game for this immediate? Because I've said it. Through my years of watching Toku and ultimately getting to reviewing it, is that games like this can't last forever. They cannot. They have to have some sort of end goal. So what is it? So, you know what? We're gonna do this. Since I got the lab, I got the board, I got the chalk. Let's run it. Let's remember what the past 6 episodes were. Let's remember what this episode in particular gave us. Let's try to suss it out before we get up out of here. We have Sento Kiryu, Kamen Rider build. Experimented on, escaped allegedly, found by OG Soichi, became Kamen Rider build. Ryuga Banjo, kidnapped. Well, not kidnapped, let's say. More of, you were set up for a murder, you didn't commit, sent to jail, get shanked up by some other dude, end up in a laboratory, escape, help the same person who put you in that hemmed up position, and always from Sunday, put all that up for you to get in the same mix with one Sento Kiryu who is Kamen Rider build. We also have to remember one other piece of information that this episode gave us that I'm going to mention right now because I forgot to mention it in all this. Who killed Katsuragi? We know it wasn't Ryuga. According to Tatsuya took Sento to where he was at 9 a.m. that morning. And later that day, I think if I'm not mistaken, Ryuga went over there about 4 or 5 o'clock that afternoon and found his dead body and then got hemmed up because the police were already there. In that, I don't really think Sento is the one that killed him. That makes no sense. Unless something happened between 9 and 4 o'clock that made who Sento was into who he ultimately became, because he couldn't have murdered him because he was too busy getting experimented on, huffing up that ether gas, sitting up here like, yo, I'm Nas now, I'm finna drop the Takeover 3 or something, and no one's going to do that because, I'm like, if we gonna sit up here and I'm gonna go on this wave for 2 seconds, Ether versus the Takeover, Ether won. I'm like, that was probably one of the most important rap beefs in history. But the answer we were actually looking for is Nebula Gas. I was trying to be funny, but yeah, you full of Nebula Gas, but you don't turn into a smash. We learned in this episode that you think that you were Kamen Rider by accident, like this happened now. Is that you are what you fight. And now it's become some weird, I want to call it Batman dilemma, because that's something that Bruce Wayne deals with. Is that, are you as crazy as the people you lock up? And we have learned over the years in the many incarnations of Bruce Wayne as Batman, that man is psycho. Man, watch his mom mom and dad get lit up. It breaks his psyche into nothingness. So you have that to think about too, to complicate whatever the hell's going on. You know what I mean? But look, we are at a weird crossroads 6 episodes in. And I appreciate that we are. Because now, here comes what I talked about at the very beginning. The moral dilemma. Who are you after it goes down? How do you deal with it? Yo, here's this stuff being dropped in your lap. We don't define you. Again, remember, we don't define you by the stuff that gets dropped in your lap. It's how you deal with stuff in your lap. It's how you will be defined. And this is an instance where our heroes are going to be defined by the next moves that they make on this chessboard. Because this won't be the last game of chess in Kamen Rider Build against whoever sick game this is. No, no, no. You will be defined by the many games of chess you play over this whole series. Because the rules say, well, they not say, or nor are they set in stone, but you are the hero. You kind of sort of have to win because you will. But you will be taken down, dropped to your nothingness, broken, put back together again, still fighting until it's over. And all of that will define you too. But right now, we 6 episodes in, here's all this information being dropped in your lap. Who you used to be, who it is you want to be, the division between the two sides of yourself, the one you have no idea about, the other one that you are still, after all this time, because you are an amnesiac, you're building. Who are you? When it comes to Ryuga, who are you? Are you willing to sit up here and put yourself before others? Are you willing to sit up here and sacrifice others for your gain because you are still in pain about all the loss you've dealt with? Who is it are you as heroes? That's all that it is. And that's the question that I am going to be analyzing this show immediately, at least for the next 5 or 6 episodes. Because we know what's going to happen to Ryuga. He finna get pushed into a moment and he about to become Kamen Rider Claws. How will you be defined when you truly have the power to fight back against those who put you in this position in the first place? More moral dilemmas. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Before we get up out of here, I'm trying to think, was it anything that I missed? I'm like, we talked about the funny stuff, you know what I'm saying? Who's got a boyfriend? We talked about moral dilemmas. We talked about what's coming up. How will you be defined? All that old good stuff. I'm like, yo, this gonna be legit. I'm like, yo, Kamen Rider never ceases to amaze me. I'm like, over the years, this has grown to be a lot better than I thought it ever would be. And it's stuff like this that has me excited as a fan, and I hope it has you guys excited as fans too. But I know, before we get up out of it, I'm just going to say this real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and get y'all out the recess, is this. I know I come at this at a different angle, and this ain't the first time I said it. I don't review Toku shows as Toku shows. I review it as a show that I watch, and I analyze it as such. That I know people sit up here, and they trying to sit up here, and they looking for something. I'm looking for something different. And I like what I do. And I enjoy that I get to enjoy what it is that I do. How about that? But yo, class dismissed. Lab coats in the cubby holes. Make sure to delouse yourself. Make sure to sanitize yourself on your way out the recess. Don't touch nothing you can't break. I'm, of course, the one and the only Professor L live in the where, my children? The LAB. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And remember, Triple the G.O.D. Kamen Rider Build, put it together, and you know what it is? Best match.